My name is Kevin Hines, and in the year 2000, I nearly died by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. I was depressed, I was terribly suicidal, and I thought I was a burden to my family. This was the furthest thing from the truth. I am beautiful, and so are you. Life is the greatest gift we've ever been given or will ever be given. So live it with me, and be here tomorrow and every single day after that. Welcome to the Mental Health Marvels Podcast. Hey guys, what is cracking? It's Kevin Hines, and this is part of the Triumph series. What does it mean to triumph? Triumphing over immeasurable adversity. That is what the show is about. This is our series breaking down stories from around Atlanta, even around the world, eventually, of triumph over great adversity. I'm here with my great friend, Tyshon. What's cracking?
How you doing?
Good to see you, my friend. All right, so Tyshon, we met a few months ago now.
Yeah.
And
Beginning of the year.
Beginning of the year, right? It is 2019. We met in the beginning at Best Buy, of all places.
Yeah.
your place of work, other work, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you do at Best Buy and what you do outside of Best Buy to pay the rent. Break it down.
So outside of Best Buy, I am a photographer and cinematographer.
Okay, and inside of Best Buy.
I'm a photographer and a cinematographer.
Oh, there it is. He does them both.
Yeah.
For both places. Awesome. And what got you into photography and cinematography and making movies or even documentary or docuseries?
Well, growing up, I was always into art. So I used to draw all the time. And I went to school for graphic design, of all things. And during school, I had to take a course for photography. Turns out, I like photography way more than graphic design. So I dropped out and bought a camera, and here I am today.
The rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah.
While I was talking to you at Best Buy, I said I needed a videographer and an editor for a project, the Triumph series. So he is both our editor, our cinematographer, our videographer, our photographer. Wait, that's not both. That's like 5 things. And our subject today.
Yep.
And I hate calling it a subject. You are a person we want to talk to share your story with the world. Now, you have a pretty interesting story of things you went through as a child. You had a good upbringing.
Yes.
You had 2 good parents.
Yes.
That stayed together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you any siblings?
Yeah, 2 sisters, 1 older and 1 younger.
2 sisters, 1 older, 1 younger. And how did they treat you?
They treat me great. As all siblings, we bicker, but I love them to death. Tyshon,
you were bullied in grade school for a very different reason than most are bullied, or most we know are bullied. There wasn't a flaw with you. There wasn't an issue that they made fun of your ears or your face or the color of your skin. They made fun of you and harassed you because they felt you were more well off than them because of your kind upbringing, when maybe some of the folks that you were going to school with didn't have that nice home life. Can you break down, and I want you to give me real examples of what these kids did to you, and in your perspective, why?
So growing up, my parents are both entrepreneurs, so they own a very successful business. And with that comes money, of course. So I never really had to struggle for a whole lot. If there's something I wanted, more than likely my parents could get. So material things weren't really something that I really cared all that much about. Some people will die for stuff like that. Me personally, I don't really care for it because of what it put me through growing up. So growing up, there's a lot of kids in my school who didn't like me just because I had something that they didn't have. And my parents had the ability to get it, and they just didn't. So it's kind of a jealousy thing, which I don't personally really get, but I mean, I also wasn't someone who had to struggle for a whole lot. So, but going through that, during the time, like it wasn't just like people just shunning me. Like for a good portion of pretty much all of middle school and high school, I had to pretty much teach myself how to fight, because if I didn't, I got the crap beat out of me, to put it simply.
On a daily basis?
Pretty much daily, weekly. So I had to learn to defend myself. That way, people would stop physically bullying me, but even though I was able to stop the physical bullying, because I was a relatively large kid, especially in middle school. So once I got bigger, they couldn't really physically harm me, but the mental was still there.
The torment, the verbal torment.
Yeah. So
verbal abuse.
Just walking through halls and just knowing that 90% of the people around me just didn't like me. And for no reason other than my parents have money, which is something I can't control.
So that's that green. That's that envy.
Yeah.
The color that complements envy is usually green, and it was this envy that you had something they didn't. Which when you look at individuals who have less than you, or less than the average well-off citizen or well-off youth, because their parents are working so hard, that's a common theme. Mm-hmm. When and I say we as the collective we, not you and I, mm-hmm. But when people, young or old, see someone who's got more than them, there is a general sense, I think, of envy in some individuals. And in grade school and high school and college, it is vicious, man.
Yeah.
Those kids are out there to find something about you that they don't like, and when they find it, they feast on it. Yeah. In grade school, eighth graders would hold my head down and say, "Swing, little N-word, swing," but they would say the word. They would say, "Whistle, little N-word, whistle," and they would torment me every day. And the eighth graders would do those things, and when I stopped them from harming other kids who were also being bullied, that's when they really, really tormented me. And then my own grade started taking shots at me, and it was awful. And so I don't understand what you went through, but I can certainly empathize based upon the things that they did. Eighth graders would pick me up, turn me upside down, and place me in a trash can, face first, and just tell me that's what I was. That because I didn't look like them, because I wasn't full white, that I was garbage. And can you break down, in that sense, I'm sharing with you just so we can have a common theme here, can you break down the bullying and hazing that went on? Like what was something specific that you hated going to school for because this you knew was going to occur?
I remember it starting in around 5th to 6th grade. My dad's a sneakerhead. So my dad loves sneakers, and he would buy me sneakers all the time, to the point where if I wanted, and this isn't trying to like brag or anything, but if I wanted, like I could wear a different sneaker every day. And I remember going to school, I had white Nikes on, and I was listening to music on my iPod, and I just like randomly just like this kid Nelson. I remember him just because he was
Let's name these sons of bitches. Let's name them.
I remember
Tony Rivera.
Just because
Mike Ramirez, go ahead.
He didn't like me just because I was
Kevin
me.
Murphy. Sorry, I'm done.
You're fine.
I'm pissed off.
He didn't like me just because that was me. So he grabbed my headphones out of my ear and stepped on my shoes.
Scuffing them?
Yeah, he scuffed them. I didn't personally really care all that much. I was like, the shoes, I have more at home. I don't care. Yeah. And he told me to give him my iPod.
So now it's theft.
Yeah, so obviously I wasn't going to give this kid an iPod. Luckily, like before anything like really happened, a teacher came over and like broke up that before it could really start. But around the next class, I was walking to lunch, and I walked around a corner and just fist in my face.
Just him or somebody else with him?
It was him and 2 of his friends.
What are their names?
I don't remember their names.
You're not memorable enough. We don't remember you. Go away.
I just remember Nelson.
I hope you're good adults now, you shitheads. Go ahead.
But yeah, all I remember is a fist hitting my face, and they yelled for my iPod, and I just took off the other direction.
Bolted. Yeah, good shoes, you could run.
Yeah, no, it's 3 of you, 1 of me, I'm running. I'm smart enough to know that. But yeah, and that was the first time I really experienced like that was a fight. It wasn't really a fight, but close enough to one. And I came in the next day for school, and they had scuffed up my other shoes, so I came to school with a different pair of shoes on.
Yeah.
They didn't like that.
Of course.
So it became this daily thing of them trying to scuff up my shoes or just mess something up on me that looked valuable.
You must have an investment in Scotch Guard. Or
But,
liver cleaner.
also, other than just the school, though, although I love my parents to death, absolutely, they're amazing. I would die for them. But at home, things weren't like 100% either. My mom to this day is still the person that I go to talk to about anything that's bothering me. If there's something on my mind, mom's the first one I call. My dad, on the other hand, like I said, my parents came from the hood. So they lived the complete opposite upbringing as me. And growing up, my dad didn't have much. So he wanted the opposite for his kids, which most parents do. They want the best for their kid, obviously. Yeah. But one flaw with that mentality is if I buy you things, that's going to make you happy. So, whenever he would buy us stuff, but my dad wouldn't really talk to us. So I didn't have much of a relationship with my dad. So much so to the point where I'm 24 now. I just recently started having a better relationship with my dad for the last maybe 3 or 4 years. Those other 20, it's kind of just a blur. Most of the time I was around him, he owned his own business, so any vacations that we took as a family, he was on his phone taking care of business. Which, I can't complain about because it put a roof over my head, food in my mouth, a home to shit in. So,
a bathroom. Don't shit in the house.
A bathroom
don't just go in the carpeted area of the house.
Yeah, that's just disrespectful.
Right in the living room. Don't do that. Use the bathroom and toilet paper, of course.
Yes.
Or a bidet, whatever you choose. Okay. No, but so your dad and you for 20 years had no like verbal communication that was really immeasurable value and that taught you. So did he teach you lessons, or was he just for that period of time, you, as you said, believing that buying you things was the way to your happiness?
So,
was there any connection?
So there were connections. Most of I won't lie, and I don't want to seem like I'm ragging on my dad at all because I love him. But some of the most valuable lessons that he has taught me, even without him verbally telling me, is a certain work mentality.
Work ethic.
Yes. So
yes.
My work ethic that I have.
His work ethic is next level. I can attest to that. All right. When you come in here and you come into these shoots and you knock it out, and here I am, you're waiting to do the editing, and I can't get my shit together, and that's when let's talk about this for a minute. Like, we shot the original episodes of Triumph. How many months ago?
About 3 or 4 now?
3 or 4. I think it was actually 6.
Was it 6?
I think it was 6.
It was in 2019.
Yeah, it was 19?
Yeah, it was 2000. I think it was like January.
It was January.
Yeah.
February, March, April, May, June. All right, 5.
Yeah. All
right, it's July now. Okay. So I have an issue with creating footage that nobody ever had to edit. So there's 40 terabytes coming. You just hang on tight. But your work ethic, as I can see from the very beginning, is next level. Let's talk about something else. You live with chronic pain.
Yes. In 2015, I got into a car accident.
Yes.
And it gave me a herniated disc in my back.
So you're picking up these heavy bags of the film equipment, but you're getting it done because you believe in the work, you love what you do, and you found your passion, which is amazing. All right, let's get back to your dad. So tell me what it was. Break down at the end part of what it was growing up, and how it changed. How did you find a way to communicate with your dad that was more positive than those first 20 years?
It took a very long time. With my dad, since I never really had him around, I built up a resentment without even knowing it. So that just kind of added. So I would have all this crap going on at school, not happy there, and then I would come home and I would feel uneasy at home as well. So it was kind of just an ongoing, just blur of anger, sadness, depression, all of it. Around 3 years ago, it's actually kind of funny. Not ha-ha funny, but kind of like ironic. The way I was able to get a better relationship with my dad was we had an argument. And I just kind of let it all out.
The truth.
Yeah, it's just...
The truth shall set you
free.
Exactly.
Yeah, most definitely. So I had to... It was a conversation that had to be had, though. There's only so much that you can keep inside.
Yeah.
And even if you think that someone might not like what you have to say, in my mentality recently have been, even if you don't like what I have to say, I'm not going to do anybody a service by keeping it in.
When we censor ourselves with anyone, those we love, those we know, those we don't know, those we don't even like, when we censor ourselves, it bubbles.
Yes.
And it grows.
Yes.
And it
Without
bursts.
you knowing.
And then it bursts. And in society today, I think that burst ends up being in rage, aggression, resentment, violence, substance use disorder, even suicidal thoughts, ideas, actions. I think it represents itself in manifesting into other diagnosed mental illnesses and making them worse and more perpetuated. And I think that one thing we have to learn as we grow up, and I teach this in every presentation I give around the world, is to never silence your pain.
Yes.
And I say to people, your pain is valid. Your pain is worthy of my time and others, and your pain matters because you matter. And if you can unburden yourself from the silence you've developed over years and the built-up resentment, guess what? When you tell that person how you truly feel, that resentment goes right out the window.
Most definitely.
And it doesn't go often exactly at the time you need it to, but eventually if you have a real, calculated conversation with this individual, but I mean calculated with only the truth that you've been keeping in for so long, you unburden yourself, you let them know, why they're wondering all the time, like, why are they so upset with me? I can feel the resentment. You can feel when someone resents you.
Oh,
you know when someone is upset at you and they're not telling you the truth. And so tell me, how did your dad take it?
He didn't take it very well at first. My dad's not very open with his feelings.
Okay.
He's just kind of, in a way, I'm the same way as him. I tend to keep things to myself, and I don't like heavy confrontation that much. Just because I feel like I'm upsetting someone or burdening somebody. But we had an argument back and forth, and just some things got said that had to be said. I got to tell him how I felt. He got to tell me how he felt. And although it wasn't a conversation that probably either one of us liked to say we had, I'm able to express myself a lot better to him now.
Good. So that opened up a doorway for real in-depth communication.
Yes.
With Pops. Okay, so we'll go back. You bullied for how many years?
Middle school all the way through high school, up until my junior year.
Up until your junior year of high school?
Yeah.
So what grade middle school, just so I understand?
6th grade.
6th grade it started, 5th, 6th grade, all the way till junior year of high school. That's a good stretch of time there.
Yes.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th.
Yes.
Wow. So 7 years of torment. And of course did you learn a martial art to defend yourself? How did you defend yourself eventually?
Boxing.
Boxing?
I did learn boxing. And
you must have had a good bob and weave.
I was pretty good at running.
or you must have had one hell of a right hook. I don't know.
A little bit of both. A little mixture. I also learned a little bit of mixed martial arts as well.
Mixed martial arts. Okay,
Yeah.
so bobbing and weaving, martial arts, and a good right hook. And that kept you from the physical torment, but it didn't stop the mental and verbal abuse.
No. That unfortunately that never really stopped. I eventually learned to just ignore it because even to this day, there's people who are just douches. Plain and simple.
Let's give a message to all of Tyshon's haters. Go fuck yourselves. You're a good dude with a great heart.
Thank you.
And that you can tell from the moment you meet him if you're also a good human being. And for those of you haters out there in the world who waste your time trolling or make money trolling online or just like hating on people because you can, I'm going to ask you a question. Try being positive for once in your life and see how your life turns around.
Yeah.
Look at that inner critical voice in your existence. What made you a hater? And I don't mind haters. I get people that send me death threats. I don't care. Look, I want you to go find your good mental, brain, mind, behavioral, and physical well-being. I want you to be your best self, whether you don't like me or you do, or you don't like Tyshon or you do. I don't care. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your life hurting other people. You should go do something that makes you happy. And if that makes you happy, you have a serious problem. And let's be clear. People hate on other people. People abuse them with their words. People hurt people with actions, physical actions, and hate on them online. because they've been hurt.
Yes.
People only hurt other people because of their life situations or traumas of the past of their parents, their parents' parents, their parents' parents' parents.
It comes from like a mentality of I'm hurting, so you should be hurting.
I'm hurting, so you should be hurting too.
Yeah.
But let's say something about your father.
Mm-hmm.
Your father was hurting in his childhood
Yes.
and adulthood,
Yes.
but he goes on to become a great dad
Yes.
who takes care of his son.
Mm-hmm. He's like I said, I know I may have painted a certain picture, but he's an amazing man. He just had trouble understanding the different type of mentality that they were upbringing.
Yes.
So it was just a disconnect between my sisters and him.
Because he hustled to survive.
Yes.
And then he came up in the world and he goes, I have it now. Why isn't my son happy with having what I have?
Yes.
Or more, you know?
Yeah. And it comes from a lot of people have that mentality.
Yeah.
That's why you have so many celebrities and stuff who kill themselves and
Yeah.
they're getting high all the time because people expect you have everything that I could possibly want in the world. So who are you to say that you're not happy right now?
And if you look at celebrities and the celebrity culture that we are obsessed with in this country and around the world, they're almost driven to this by the sheer enormity of their personas
Mm-hmm.
and the effect that a persona has on the general public and the public's obsession with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't mean that we are driving them to do drugs or to do violent things or to hurt other people. I'm saying that the celebrity culture is an overwhelming one for the actual person inside of
Most
that,
definitely.
who looks out at these, you know, once you're online, once you have the numbers to back up whatever kind of celebrity you have, that comes with torment from all kinds of people who don't like you,
Mm-hmm.
who are envious of you. So you go from your level, my level of struggle with the bullies I had. My dad, who was verbally abusive my whole life, but adopted me, made me his son, is still the best dad in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, still love him dearly. He's still a man who's taught me many life lessons, like your dad taught you work ethic. My dad said hard work because nothing good ever came without it. I repeat that all the time. Tyshon, how did the coming together of you and your father, how did it first occur, and what does it look like today? And I want you to give me a specific example.
The coming together of me and my father. Well, like I said, it started with that conversation that me and him had, and it has started to connect more and more. Because honestly, it's like the last few years, it's like me and my dad have just started, like
Your real relationship.
Yeah, well, we just started. It's like we met each other for the first time recently.
Wow.
Because through my life, for a decent part of my life, I had a falling out with my dad. So I moved out of my house at I think I was around 19. It was about a year after I graduated, and I moved out because I just couldn't live at home, so I needed to leave. So I went off and I kind of did my own thing. I did my own hustle to try to find out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be at, and all that. And the business that my dad owns is a rim shop. So my dad, you know, he sells rims, tires, anything car related, he does it. So recently, you know, I've been going to their store, and there's certain things that I learned while I was on my own that he didn't know I knew.
Ooh.
So I'll come to the store and I'll just like help him out around the store, and it's kind of something that we just started bonding on because he didn't even know that I knew those kind of things.
So you walk in and he's totally surprised that you know how to do the things he loves.
Yeah, so like
That's
I'll walk
awesome.
when I first moved back down to Atlanta from New York, he needed he was short a worker. So I came into the store and I was like, what do you need help with? And he was like, my dad had a bad back as well. So have you ever mounted a rim onto a tire? It's grueling. And he really shouldn't have been doing it. So I offered to just come into the store and help him do it. He didn't know I knew how to do it. So
That's a proud papa moment right there.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So being at the store is one of those things that helped me bond with him a little bit more.
Wow.
So those are some of the things that like I'll just come to the store and see if he needs any help with doing something because it's one of those things that we kind of bond over.
So you bond over the rims and the cars, which are still all kinds are still insanely popular here in Atlanta.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
I mean, in Cali, they've kind of like dwindled down from like, they were the chrome and then the platinum and all that stuff, and the 22 inch. Like you saw that all over California.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see that much over California right now. At least where I'm traveling in Cali. But it is heavy on some parts of the East Coast and the South.
Very,
so yeah, man. So that's awesome. Shout out to those who have rims. I love looking at them, especially those spinning ones. Keep them around, even though they were super 2000, 1999. But I like seeing them. So I'll give you a good you know what I mean to them. So it's cracking. Okay, let's switch topics here for just a minute. We've talked about your dad. We've talked about your relationship with the bullies and how you overcame that. We talked about you learning to physically defend yourself just so you could survive. That's intense. And we can't forget the scuffs on all those shoes you had to get rid of. But I want to ask you a couple of things. I want to ask you first about your good relationship with your mom and how you tell her everything. Talk about the importance of a good mother.
So
the connection, the bond.
If I'm going to be honest, if it wasn't for my mom, I probably wouldn't even be the person I am today.
Same.
Yes. My mom is someone that I've always been able to feel like I could always talk to, and who's always been just a very opening and inviting person to have a conversation with. Never judged me once in my life. If I ever had something that I needed advice on, she was always willing to give me as much advice as she possibly could on the matter. And I couldn't imagine my life without my mom.
What's her name?
Karen.
Karen?
Yes.
Shout out to Karen. We love Karen. Thank you for building this amazing young man who is one hell of a hard worker and a really kind and good, genuine human being. Okay, so I love my mom too. We've had our fallings out back and forth, up and down. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the non-judgmental person that I am. So I copy that. Now moving forward, I'd like to talk to you about the depression. I'd like to hear from you what that looked like from its inception to today. And in the middle of that, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You attempted to take your life.
Yes.
I want you to get into that, and I want you to. We're going to be careful and safe message on this, but it's important that you talk about how you did it, the incidents that happened that literally saved your life, as in what happened when you attempted and how it was stopped, and how you enjoy and are thankful for being here today. Let me ask you a question. We'll backtrack here. We'll go back, but you would not. I'm guessing you would not have met the love of your life, your wife, and married her if you had died.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's the same for me, brother. As I always say, break it down.
Yes. So with the depression, I didn't know what depression was. As you know, it's not really talked about that much, especially in the Black community. So it's something that I just felt like I was being sad, and one of the things that my dad used to always say is "man up." So it was one of those things where it's just like I had a negative connection with showing emotions. So I would try my best to avoid ever crying. Like the only expression I would ever show other than happy is angry. Those were the only two things. If I was feeling sad, I got mad because of the fact that I was feeling sad. And bottling those emotions up is very unhealthy. And I didn't realize how much of a toll it was taking on my mental.
And your physical health. It's toxic for your body.
Yes. And I grew very accustomed to lying. I put on a happy face. So, as far as my friends or my family were concerned, I could have just been a very happy-go-lucky kid. I never told anybody that I was sad or that I was feeling depressed. Because I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just sad. And like I said, I thought sad was bad. So through those, around 5 years, I believe it was around freshman year of high school, it just kind of reached a boiling point. And I was usually when I was home with my two sisters. But that day I had come home and I was home by myself. And my dad my dad has guns, and something just told me, go to the room, put the mag in, and put it to your head. So that's exactly what I did. I went into my parents' room, I sat on the floor, and I didn't really think, I just did it.
You attempted.
Yes.
You pulled the trigger.
But the reason I'm here is because the gun jammed. I think that's what it was. I don't know how to. Back then I didn't know how to use guns, so I thought you just put the mag in, pull the trigger. I thought it was that simple. I don't know exactly what happened. All I know is I pulled the trigger. I waited for like a minute or two and realized that I was still breathing. And I got scared, so I rushed and put it back, and I just ran into my room and I just locked myself in the room for the rest of the day.
How long did you not tell anyone?
That was freshman year. I didn't tell anyone until it was after I graduated high school.
Who did you tell?
The first person I told was my wife. My then girlfriend.
Yeah.
She was one of the people I just felt like I could trust her with that, especially since we both have gone through very low points in our lives, and I told her during a conversation about that. I didn't tell my family until it had to be at least like 5 or 6 months later.
And who did you tell in your family first?
The first person I told in my family was my dad.
Really?
It was not.
I would have called it your mom. Okay.
I kind of told
conversation.
I kind of told both of them.
Yeah.
But the only reason I even told my dad was we were arguing, and it was a very heated argument. It was around the time when I was leaving home.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to tell you exactly what we were arguing about.
Context was.
But I remember texting him, I wish I'd killed myself that day. And that was the first time that I ever openly said that I had tried to take my own life. I did eventually have a full conversation about it with my mom. But it's still not something that I really even have had a very in-depth conversation with any member of my family about.
Yeah.
Other than my little sister.
Okay. And you're alive and well.
Yes.
The gun jammed, or the safety was on, or something happened, and you're safe and here today. Let me ask you this: what would you have missed if you died that day? What would you have missed? Give me as many things as you can, as many milestones as you can, or simple little things that matter. What would Tyshon have missed if he had died that day by suicide?
Spending time with all the members of my family. Meeting my wife's family for the first time. Going to Japan for the first time. I can't imagine not having the last 10 years of my life.
Never filming the series Triumph.
Never meeting Kevin.
Yeah, man, come on.
Never meeting Kevin.
Yeah, man, let's go.
I couldn't imagine I'm so happy I didn't try a second time, or I couldn't imagine.
Because you're here today, and it seems like you have better relationships with the people you love. Your work ethic and your hustle game is next level. Right now, in the last 6 months ago, we're making media that matters. Wherever it goes, it's going to help people, and that's going to leave your imprint on the world forever. And people are going, the people that do watch this are going to remember this story. It's powerful and palpable, and they're going to be moved to the core. And even this story, I know this story is going to change lives. Your story. Someone's going to relate to your pain. They're going to relate to the story you have, the attempt, the survival, and they're going to want to be here tomorrow. And they're going to want to triumph over their adversity just because you did. That's a special thing, man. On the flip side, I'm really glad I got to meet you because I believe people are put into our lives in a purposeful we're on a linear path. We're on this linear path that may may eventually be tangential, and we go this way and we go that way, and if we go that way, this is going to happen. If we go this way, that's going to happen. Had I, on the day we were to meet you in Best Buy, we were going to go to Fry's, which is farther away.
Yeah.
But we were going to go to Fry's. And at the last minute, my wife was like, no, I looked it up. Best Buy's right here. And I was like, we're already on our way to Fry's. She goes, no, just we'll go to this one. And we go to the one that you're working at. And I walked up to you and asked you a bunch of goofy questions as a new filmmaker. Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? What do I do with this and that? How does this go together? And some people get annoyed by my inquisitive nature, but I'm a new filmmaker trying to make content that matters with my family, with my wife, my producer, and some other friends, some great friends. None of us can do this alone. And I meet you, and I say, hey, we're trying to shoot this thing, which honestly, I made it up on the spot. I wanted to create something that was in my mind, but I hadn't put it on paper. I hadn't made a creative brief. I hadn't done anything for it. And you're like, yeah, we can do it. And Tyshon, I'm grateful that we got to connect. I believe we'll be connected for life. I believe we'll make content until you're ready not to together. You're like, I'm done with that guy, Kevin Hines, talks too much. I'm whatever happens going forward, and if somehow we part ways and don't do work together, which I think is impossible, I am grateful to know you.
For sure.
I'm grateful for your friendship in my life. And I hope that after this Triumph series is done and it goes where it goes, I hope we can kick it old school with the wives, have them meet each other, do some kind of double date. I hope to meet your parents someday and learn where you came from in a deeper sense.
If I
ever need rims,
rims,
on my shoes because I don't drive. But my wife might need rims. That might be kind of cool. Tyshon, keep telling your story to the people that you dub worthy of it, and share your hope and your truth with as many people as you can. And my friend, thank you for telling this story here today in an unencumbered, honest way. I greatly appreciate it. I listen to this over and over again. Guys, thank you so much for watching this final episode of the Triumph series. We may extend this and go further and build it out. There'll be a subtitle though. This is Triumphing Over Immeasurable Adversity. The show is called Triumph. This is Tyshon Cooper. He is an amazing young man doing great things with his talents and trying to help you. So if you are in crisis today, I want you to text CNQR to 741-741. That's the crisis text line. Text CNQR to 741-741 if you are in crisis of any kind, if you're suicidal, if you're living with depression, if you're in pain, if you need someone to talk to on text. A licensed peer support counselor will be with you in 3 to 5 minutes if you text CNQR to 741-741, and that stands for something. It stands for Conquer Your Pain. Courage to talk about your mental health, normalize the conversation, ask the question, are you suicidal? Do you have a plan of recovery? It's possible, living proof. All right, guys, be well, be here tomorrow and every damn day after that, and let's always triumph over our pain. We can let our pain defeat us, or we can let our pain build us and make us who we are today. It is up to you. And lastly, if nobody else says it today, we love you and we want you to stay. Triumph over every pain that walks in your way. All right, brother. Thank you very much.
No problem at all.
All right. We'll see you next time in the next iteration of the show. But this is the wrap up of the Triumph series, and we're looking forward to bringing you better content tomorrow.